right, good morning, everyone. So today we're going to do a quick live stream where I will take a look at first Bitcoin, and then we're going to look at a couple of altcoins to see if we can find any interesting setups. And I'm going to update you guys on the stuff that I did this weekend. And at the end of the live stream, we're going to do a quick scan of the Forex market. All right, let's go. All right, so here we have Bitcoin, right? And I've just got to my desk. I've been here for about 20 minutes or so. I've quickly kind of went through the markets, and I mean, I'm just at first glance, I'm kind of seeing some risk on vibes. What's up, Mr. T? Good morning. And so I went through the Forex market, right? And we're seeing some weakness from USD. We're seeing definitely seeing some risk on moves here. So what I'm thinking is, I like the fact. So I'm currently in GBP JPY long, this one right here. So this one I've entered on. Actually, I entered GBP JPY and USD CAD, and the reasoning here was basically. I was thinking, if I like both of these, right? So I really did. Yeah, okay. So I'm not going to start with Forex, right? I'm not going to start with Forex, but I kind of want to give you an overview of my thought process and why I'm leaning more towards risk on, which means, hopefully Bitcoin is going to break out, right? And if Bitcoin breaks out, we're going to be seeing some pretty interesting moves. What's up, man? Thank you for the nice words. Really do appreciate all of you coming on here, and your positive vibes and your feedbacks. Very much appreciated. And of course, like the video, subscribe to the channel. You'll see that this is on my personal channel, Lips for Two. So I'm only at like 1,000 subscribers. If you guys want to help me out, get me to 1 million. Let's go. All right. So I went long on USD CAD, thinking if this one gets stopped out, GBP JPY should be moving to the upside. So I'm kind of, I don't know why, this is weird maybe, but anyway, what we're seeing right now, CHF JPY, we're seeing the JPY pair is moving quite nicely. Euro JPY here moving very nicely. I like the fact that we have that little reclaim of the. Weekly open doesn't matter because it's a Monday. So, but I like the fact that we have the weekly open being confluent with a pretty decent horizontal level right here. So if we can break and retest that level and continue higher, I do think the risk on narrative here is strong. AUD JPY is currently is a pair which moves. It moves with risk, if you like. So a bullish AUD JPY would indicate a risk on environment, while a bearish AUD JPY would translate into a risk of scenario most of the time, right? So that's just my general initial feeling. We can also look at oil, which is usually rallies in a bull market and that sort of stuff. So if oil starts moving bullishly. Now, of course, with the war, Ukraine, Russia, it might be different in this case right here. Now my son's coming in. He's naked. I don't know if that's appropriate for maybe YouTube is gonna like ban this. Wow, that's nice. Tack så mycket. Vad är jättefin. Tack. All right, so he made me a drawing. See this? I can't go wrong. All right, so hopefully YouTube won't ban me for inappropriate content. That's a beautiful drawing. Oh man. All right, so yeah, so right now I'm seeing possible risk on vibes, and we're looking at Bitcoin, right? And this resistance area right here just keeps on getting tested and tested over and over again, right? And you know what they say, a support or resistance level gets weaker and weaker with every touch. But the more, paid actor is a crisis actor. So the more the level gets tested, the weaker the level becomes. But on the flip side, when that level breaks, so let's say it's been tested 10 times, which is huge, right? Huge amount. So if it gets tested like 10 times, right, when it breaks, the number of tests prior to the breakout determines the strength of the level, right? So it get tested once, twice, third time, still quite strong. And then like after the fourth and fifth time, it becomes much, much weaker with every test, right? Because sellers or buyers, depending on if it's support or resistance, gets weaker and weaker and gets absorbed with every test, right? But then eventually when it breaks, number of tests prior to the break determines the strength of the level. So you look at Bitcoin right here, and you see a slight uptrend into that resistance area. You see that resistance area gets tested over and over again. We have, let's say this is the immediate retest right here. So 1, 2, 3. I said this is fourth. You could also say you have 1, 2, and 3. So we might see something like this, right? And that would be the fourth. And on the fourth or the fifth retest, I do expect this to break. So let's say we have, we're being a little bit more detailed. We're gonna say 1, 2, 3, and 4, and this would then be the fifth retest, right? But then if you look at the daily, a daily chart, you only really have 1 and 2 tests, right? So I want to see the multiple tests on a daily basis, right? But it looks pretty clean on the 4 hour as well. So if you take this into consideration while combining the idea of the market being in a slightly risk on environment, we might see Bitcoin break out. So what we should be doing is we should preparing for the break on Bitcoin, because if Bitcoin fails to break this level, I'm not really seeing a lot of interesting short opportunities, right? The short opportunities comes below this level right here, right? The midpoint of the high time frame reload. So let me show you that, guys, that. So this is the 0.702, which is around 20,500 or 600. That's the midpoint of the high time frame reload zone. We break below that level, and that's when we might potentially start looking for shorts on a break and retest to the downside, and that would also coincide with altcoins breaking the current structure. So what we should be doing right now is we should have two scenarios. What should we be doing if Bitcoin breaks out? Well, we should be potentially go long on altcoins. And what happens if we break that midpoint reload zone area to the downside? We should perhaps start looking at a possibility of going short sometime in the near future. The short setups are not clear. The long setups, however, on the medium term basis, short to medium term basis, looks very, very clean. I'm going to show you which ones I'm looking at, and it's 1 inch. By the way, guys, I'm gonna keep on repeating I know I'm repeating myself, but please hit that like button and subscribe. I need to get better at reminding people about that, because it's so important when trying to grow the channel. And I'm really trying to help you guys, because like it's reason why I'm doing this, right? So the reason why I'm trying to, like, I want to help as many people as possible, right? And the reason for me to do that is because I'm really, I'm really happy with the life I'm living, and the life that trading has helped me create, right? So yeah, I should try 1080p. It's just because I'm on the free version of StreamYard. I'm gonna upgrade to paid one. I'm on the free version, which they only give me like the 720, I think it is, right? Anyway, so I'm really happy with the life I'm living, and that's because of the fact that trading has given me immense freedom, right? So let me give you an example, right? While most people, they wake up on a Monday and they're like, oh shit, it's Monday, I gotta work, they're not, then this is normal, right? Most people wake up and they're like, it's Monday, I don't really like the stuff I'm doing, I gotta head to work. They jump out of bed, they get some quick breakfast and stress around, and they go to work, a work they don't really love, and they spend like 8, 9, 10 hours at that work, and then they go home. While I can wake up, have breakfast for as long as I can, start working at 9, have a live stream here till 10, take a break for an hour or two, have the alerts do all the work for me, then maybe work an hour, go down to the basement, work an hour, and if I don't feel like working, I can go head over to the beach with my family while I have my phone with me and update myself on what the market is doing by using alerts, and I can literally trade and make money from sitting on a beach watching my kids play, being with my family, and having that freedom. And I can basically work from wherever I want in the world. Like, I'm going on vacation in about 4 weeks, and I'm just taking a laptop with me. So I can work, 1 or 2 hour every day and still make the same amount of money that I did working, 10 hours a day before starting to trade. So I don't think people like it. It sounds really nice, but I don't think people understand what this really gives you in terms of freedoms, And I want everyone to experience that, right? It's not for everyone, right? Trading is not for everyone. Everyone's not going to, succeed in this. But I really want to give people that are willing to learn. I want to give them the opportunity to at least have the opportunity to get to where I went, And I basically went from nothing, right? So it's very possible for anyone to do this. It's very possible for anyone to do this, and that's why I really think, if given the opportunities, I think most people are able to succeed, right? It's not a dream you can't touch, right? It's really right there. It's right there. And now with the funding prop firms, like, you don't even need the funds, right? You don't even need the money. You can get funded, and like, oh man, it's like the possibilities are endless. I don't think it's so much more easier now to become a professional trader than 10 years ago, right? The possibilities are absolutely endless, right? You can get funded online if you're a talented trader and work from anywhere in the world and not even risk your own capital, right? People will literally give you money to trade if you're good at trading. It's crazy. Absolutely insane. All right. So we got 1 inch right here. 1 inch is so what happened here was we saw 1 inch come down and test the 50% level right here, confluent with the daily 20 EMA and the 4-hour 20, while giving us that bull cross on the 4-hour stochastics. My son is going insane. If you hear a lot of screaming, it's not me, it's him. And so TP1 got hit right here, and at that point we would have moved stops to entry, and particularly important to move stops to entry when Bitcoin haven't even broken above resistance. So you had that rejection here with the 4-hour bearish engulfing at resistance that prompted altcoins to continue lower. And you can see here it's a very good example of where, like, this move right here, this small move on Bitcoin caused this move on 1 inch, while that even smaller move to the downside caused 1 inch to create an even bigger move to the downside than the previous bullish move. So this is a great example of where altcoins are always going to what's the word? I can't find the word, but anyway, what I'm saying is, like, when there's a small move on Bitcoin, it's going to get even bigger on altcoins, right? So this is also a good example of where, if you do find a setup on Bitcoin, but the risk to reward on the Bitcoin setup might not be perfect, the risk to reward on the altcoin setup might be even better risk to reward, and the moves are going to be bigger, right? So watching this right now, this is not the optimum scenario for 1 inch. Actually, the best scenario and the best entry for 1 inch would have been here, right here. But it's kind of like it feels like it's creating a range right here, and I don't really like that, right? And it also feels like Bitcoin is in a low time frame range right here. So I really do think that the important part to do here, the important thing here would be to wait for Bitcoin to actually break above 22K. And when Bitcoin breaks above 22K, we might start to see some altcoins creating a better entry. Because what I don't want to do is, I don't want to enter, because I'm a trend trader, so I want to trade these moves right here, not this, right? And now we have a range here, right? So I want this range to kind of break out. But then again, if 1 inch breaks this range to the upside, we're gonna have the daily 50 EMA very close as resistance. So I kind of have a feeling that yes, 1 inch will continue higher if Bitcoin breaks out, and it will probably hit TP2 and TP3. But I need to I need to wait for a proper setup according to my system, right? And this is not it. We're looking at BAT. I like BAT because of the fact that it's kind of reclaimed the monthly open right here. It's hitting a somewhat of a nice support area right here. Let's remove that one because remember, this is a high time frame resistance, right? So if you go long on BAT right here, you're actually going long at a high time frame resistance, but you can go long in anticipation of Bitcoin breaking out. So if you see all the signs lining up for Bitcoin to break out and you really believe Bitcoin will break out, now this is not the way I'm trading because I'm not trying to predict what will happen in the future. So if you're trading this based on the fact that you think Bitcoin is going to break out, basically what you're doing is you're predicting the future and saying Bitcoin will break out sometime in the future. I'm going to make money on that. You can trade that way. You know, it's absolutely possible to make money that way as well, because there's a lot of different indicators to alert you on a possible breakout. However, I always try to trade in the way where, because I'd like to be as stress-free as possible, right? And for that to be possible, I like to wait for the breakout to happen and then kind of confirm that the breakout level holds as support, right? And that's the idea I want to trade here. Anyway, if you think Bitcoin will break out, BAT is really testing an interesting level right here, right? However, BAT is trading at high time frame resistance. So you're basically buying Bitcoin at resistance and BAT at resistance. Because remember, if you're trading an altcoin, you're pretty much trading Bitcoin as well. Because Bitcoin controls the whole crypto market, right? Bitcoin is king of the crypto market, and nothing goes unnoticed when it comes to Bitcoin and its dominance over altcoins. Of course, there's going to be a few altcoins that rallies without Bitcoin moving. There's going to be a few altcoins being victim to pump and dumps, and also you'll have fundamental events that might move prices very quickly. But usually what happens for those, unless Bitcoin starts to move shortly after, usually what happens is they dump completely, retrace 100% of that move quite quickly, right? So it's going to be very hard to trade those, and it's just a game of luck basically to try to catch those. But if you look at BAT here, you could see that the risk to reward is actually quite good. So for those of you who like trading that way, trying to predict a breakout, BAT has a lot of room to the upside. So the setup here would be this. Now there's two ways to trade this. The safest and the best way to trade this, according to me, would be to wait for Bitcoin to break out, right? So first scenario, Bitcoin breaks out, and that will prompt BAT to start moving like this, right? And what you want to see then is like some type of break and retest of the upper part of this resistance area. This one right here. So you want to see this, right? Breakout with Bitcoin, right? So remember, you're basically trading Bitcoin, but on an altcoin. You want that retest, right? And that's going to be your take profit area, right? So let's say you enter somewhere in this area. You might have your stop below the monthly open, obviously going to be a swing trade with a stop loss of around 8%. And then you're going to probably secure the position at the closest resistance. Where do we have the closest resistance? This is on the daily. So let's try to figure out the, I think it's going to be, so let's put a level here. Then somewhere in the equilibrium of this whole zone, kind of trying to find a level that kind of goes straight through it. It's going to be these two right here. So let's see if it makes sense from a risk to reward perspective. Now that's going to be 1R, right? Which is okay. for TP1. So I would do this. I would take 25% at 1R. Depends that the R depends on the actual setup, right? But I could definitely see bad breakout here, get rejected, bounce here again, and then start making its move upwards. So TP1 would be around 1R, TP2 would be around 2R, and then TP3 somewhere around this area at around $0.6. So yeah, that's the trade on BAT. I do like this one. So that's the first way of there's the first scenario. What's up, man? Pretty sure this is one of my students. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. Hope you had a great weekend. Actually, I hope everyone had a great weekend, but especially you. um, um, yeah, I mean, you shouldn't be buying anything in bear market. And listen, guys, what I'm talking about here is not, what I'm talking about here is not spot hold. Like I'm not talking about buying this using cash for spot, right? Well, obviously you're gonna have cash, but I'm not talking about long-term holds or trying to time the bottom on Bitcoin. Yes, and I also promised I was going to take a look at the NUPL and the MBRC score. So as you guys know, a way that I try to predict the bottom for Bitcoin is using the Bitcoin net unrealized profit and loss. And by the way, guys, if you do like these high time frame analysis on Bitcoin, please hit that like button, because I'll see which one of my lives has the best engagement, and try to repeat what you guys actually want to see and not what I want to make. So you got an NUPL right here, and we're below capitalization, well inside the capitalization phase. And one thing here, which I really haven't shared a lot, according with these charts, is you can see that the extremes becomes less and less with time, right? And there's like a diagonal here, right? So I do expect that you have something in trading which is called alpha decay, and with time, alpha, basically information that creates an edge for the people that know that information, it decreases with time. It gets less and less effective with time. And I do think that that's what we're seeing here on the NUPL, right? The extremes are getting weaker and weaker and weaker. So with time, you might never even enter capitalization. This might be the last time the NUPL actually does enter the capitalization phase, right? So you have to keep that in mind. You have to keep the diagonal idea in mind here, right? So we're not looking at this like horizontal levels, like it's going to hit this one, it's going to hit this one. We're looking at a diagonal where this low is actually lower than the capitalization of the COVID crash, right? Which is quite extensive. Yeah, man, I did have a great weekend. I bought some meat barbecue, but that was shit. Like it's oh man, it was really bad. But anyway, the weekend was good. How do one become your student? Well, it's not. So all my spots are all my student spots are actually full at this time, and it's at this time not possible to become a student, but it might be maybe possible in the future. So if you're interested in that, you can send me a DM on Twitter if you like, and we can have a conversation, and perhaps I'll add your name to a list, and perhaps when ready, I'll get in touch about that. Anyway, so we look at the MBRC score. So that's the NUPL in the capitalization phase. We have the MBRC score well in the buy zone right here. And this is a bit different. There's no, well, there is some type of alpha decay here, of course, but not as clear as the NUPL, right? So these two on-chain metrics is telling me that Bitcoin is in the general area where the bottom is probably going to happen, and we're also inside that high time frame reload zone, which is I basically what I said when we were trading here, and I actually up here as well, is If we do enter a proper bear market, like a really strong multi-year bear market, I'm thinking the bottom is going to be somewhere in this area. That is a huge area. I know it's a huge area, and I'm not really interested in trying to predict exact prices. I'm just saying like somewhere in this area, if everything aligns, like the on the on-chain metrics, the on-chain metrics, and everything else. This is where I do believe that the bottom will come in for Bitcoin. And that's also why I've started accumulating some Bitcoin here. I'm at around, I think, 15% of my total desired position filled on Bitcoin. So currently in my crypto portfolio, I've started buying Bitcoin and Ethereum. This is the first time in 6 months that I've actually started buying crypto again. So I own about 15% in Bitcoin and Ethereum of my desired position. So when I'm at 100%, I'm just gonna let that portfolio be. And the more signs I see of a potential bottom, basically what I've done here is I've activated a dollar cost average strategy where I'm every Friday I'm buying a certain amount, and that might be going on for a year, but I'm buying at this stage. I'm buying very small amounts, and I will increase the percentage of those buys the more confirmation I have in price action that the bottom is in. So maybe at this stage I'm buying like 2% of my desired position, or maybe 5% of my desired position every Friday. And then if I see strong signs of a bottom being put in, I increase that to 10 or 15% of my desired position every Friday. And that way I just, it's an automatic dollar cost average strategy to have a long-term bag for Bitcoin. And basically what I'm thinking, like that bag will be that's my long-term bag, right? And the final confirmation, of course, will be a daily bullish market structure with a reclaim of the daily 50 EMA. So everything else is kind of aligning. It's just that bullish market structure we're looking at. Right. So even though I am starting to slowly get bullish on Bitcoin and the crypto market, I think the high time frame bottom and the bottom of the bear market will happen sometime this year. So within 4 months. While I'm bullish in a sense, or starting to get bullish, do not confuse these setups with that high time frame perspective. I am nowhere near being bullish on altcoins. Nowhere near being bullish on altcoins. However, I am ready to take a short to medium term swing trade on altcoins with this possible breakout on Bitcoin, right? But I'm going to get out of those big altcoins, right? I do not think that this pattern right here is the high time frame bottom for Bitcoin, right? It's going to come months later. So we're going to be able to get in and out of altcoins, even in a bear market. So the only reason why I'm interested in BAT here is because it's in a local bullish market structure. It's reclaiming the daily 20 EMA and soon the daily 50, it seems like, as well. And it's a pretty nice market structure right here. It's a local bullish market structure in the 4 hour. If we break this level, it's also going to be a bullish break in market structure on the daily, which makes perfect sense to trade. And the levels are just so clear. So right now, I think BAT is one of the most interesting one. 1 inch was the interesting one, but then again, we have Theta right here, which I really do like the fact that it came down and hit the monthly open here, confluent with the 50 EMA on the 4 hour. And if we add the fibs here, you'll see that it hit the 618 as well. Yep, so you see it hit the 0.618 here absolutely perfectly. But you'll also see that the right around the 50% and right where we have the 4 hour 20 EMA, you have a horizontal level, right? A horizontal resistance currently. And that's the level that I want to see get reclaimed for a potential long. So what we're looking at right here, we're looking for a breakout on Theta, which will probably come if Bitcoin breaks out. Now this looks more interesting than 1 inch at this point, right? So we're basically looking at this, right? Now let's see where is the high time frame resistance on Theta. It's actually all the way up here. So we could definitely make a case for letting Theta run all the way up here, right? So what I would do in this case is I would take profits. I would actually not use the um, I would actually not use the fib extensions for profit target at this point, but I would move my stop loss to entry at this point, take 25% profit here, and move my stop loss to entry. And then I would perhaps take 25% more up in this area and 25 probably, let's see, right here, and then let the rest of the position run up to 2.5. So this is going to be a swing trade, and this trade is based on the fact that Bitcoin might break out and hit the 0.618 up around the 26,000. So if Bitcoin makes this move, we're most likely, so that is this is a 20% move on Bitcoin. So we might, like, that might translate over to a 100% move on Theta. Let's see. Yes, it's going to be like 82% up to this level, which makes perfect sense, right? Because if Bitcoin makes that 20% move, altcoins are going to have crazy relief rallies. And Theta, I believe, is one of those that will run if it happens, right? So, of course, it's like the probability of these trades actually turning out to be real or turning out to be winners is very low. Let me repeat that. The probability of these setups turning out to be good is very low. And right now it's extremely low because Bitcoin haven't even broken above resistance. So you're watching this live stream and you might be thinking, all right, Libs is bullish. I'm not, right? I'm not. I'm just saying that there's a possibility that this will play out, but I believe the probability of this playing out is very, very low, very low. It's going to get slightly better when Bitcoin breaks out. And if this move right here is confirmed, it's going to get higher probability, but still quite low. So what I'm saying is you take 1% and you enter one altcoin, right? If you're going to enter multiple altcoins, make sure that your combined risk on all those altcoins do not ever get above 5% of your capital. I would argue that you try not to get above 2% because I feel like it's just so very, very low. All right, guys, I'm going to end the live stream shortly. Let's take a look at LRC first. We got loop ring right here. Same pattern, but what I don't like about LRC here is the fact that this resistance area right here is, you know, this resistance area on Theta. So I try to find the altcoins that have more room to the upside and the resistance, but there's definitely a trade here on LRC, right? There's definitely a possible trade right here. And this would be the trade. So you want to see break and retest around that area, and then you want to take last take profit should be the daily 50 EMA. So the risk reward on this one is actually 3, so I quite like it, right? So what you want to see here is you want to see a move higher, right? Maybe hit this level right here. Then you want to see a confirmed bounce right here. You want to see the stochastics RSI being below 30, and you want to see a 4-hour bullish engulfing somewhere in this area. You enter at market if that happens, and you take TP1 25%. TP2 25%, and then TP3 50%, and that would give you an average R of around 3. And the stop loss should be below the weekly open and that last swing low. All right, guys, that's a quick update for you guys on the crypto market at this point. I actually have to go to the bathroom, so I don't have time to do the Forex market, but I would like to thank you all for joining, and I hope to see you all in the next live, which will probably be around the same time tomorrow. All right, guys, take care, and if you have any comments, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below, and I'll gladly help you out. All right, guys, take care, and see you guys.